That's so the pecking order for oil and gas companies in general is first people. So the safety of people becomes above anything, then the environment, and then the asset. So, for example, if going back to the example of the mechanic, if the mechanic is not able to get to the rig to address something because working at height, the barrier that we put, it's not addressed, the operation will stop regardless of the cost. A rig day costs about $1 million a day. So there will never be a decision that we will put in jeopardy the safety of a person because of the asset. Clearly, the asset is important, but the safety is first. The same goes for the environment. So that's why all the companies are so strict on when it matters regarding the environment and the safety of people, and that's why the standards are high. And protecting the environment and protecting the safety of people, it has a cost associated. And then this is one of the hurdles that needs to be addressed when working with local companies that maybe do not have the standards that are required, and they need to invest to raise it up. But then let's say that they raise the standards, but then there's no contract in the next 3 months. So it's a tricky situation. That's why we have to be prudent to make sure that it benefits everybody, but that the safety and the environment is never compromised. And that's something that companies will make decisions that if the safety and the environmental standards are not met, we will just not go forward with it. There's many things that happen, and that's you. I was talking about flexibility. So Namibia needs to understand how what asset do they have, right? So if I'm not very good looking, right? I need to play the guitar or compensate, right? So at the end, you need to understand where you stand, and that by itself is very important because then you can compare how you're doing with the different countries. So, for example, reservoir quality, right? How do you compare to everywhere else? So if you have good reservoir quality, well, then you can, you have some room because at the end, the investor needs to get the returns that they need for these projects to rank. No, so Namibia did a great job of putting the rules of the game, and they build their reputation to get us where we are right now. And now we're in a position that, okay, there's some discoveries that have been made. We understand better. Now we have to sit down. Okay, what are the challenges to make these projects viable? And that's the trust that needs to be held. And that's why I think the open discussions are key as an industry, but as well with different, because each project might be different. So having flexibility, I think, is a key asset of a country. So Namibia, to summarize, Namibia has the base on the countries, the fiscal terms, stability. Namibia has a good track record on respecting contracts and all these kind of things. So that's already an asset that Namibia has. Now we have to see, okay, based on what we have, how does that compare to other countries? So, for example, ultra deep water in met ocean conditions, such as Namibia in winter, and being 200 kilometers away from the coast. And when we supply from Walvis Bay 700 kilometers, those are challenging conditions. So, okay, so how do we put that into the equation so that we ensure that we compensate all the risks so that Namibia is competitive. Now, for example, if we implement a prescriptive local content policy that starts tomorrow, that it needs to be that way, you lose that flexibility, and then we might not be able to continue for some point until we get to that point, and then that can cause us delay to the initial phase, which what is the goal of Namibia? Getting to the first oil, and then we build an industry, and then we build. So it's a matter of identifying which are the priorities. But I think that's what we're doing, in Namibia, and we remain positive that the dialogue will continue, and that we will build on top of what has been built already. So I have high confidence that that's going to happen. Her Excellency identified that the priority of the sector. So we're in that process, and hopefully it gives the priority that her intention is, and we can work together with the team that she has assigned and try to remain to the most competitive level, to what is fair for Namibia and what is acceptable return for the companies. And that's what we're trying to strive for. Now I think we've done 25 wells in a little bit 3 years. The industry is about 25 wells, some from Lutherits and some from Walvis Bay. So clearly you can do it. But obviously, when you come to a development phase, when it comes, then you need to start thinking about the infrastructure planning and all, and then that goes to competitiveness. The more infrastructure you have, the more affordable projects and the more opportunities you have. So everything is a virtuous circle, right? So infrastructure, we're trying to plan ahead and work with the government on trying to understand. Then there's some minor tweaks that we need to do on the legislative end, on rebalancing, and as well on arbitration. And so some discussions are happening on that. And then this is again getting that country risk lower and making it more streamlined. So those are the four main ones. And then we have the fifth is communication. How do we communicate better the industry so that everybody is aware of what's going on and understand it better? And the sixth one is, this is very interesting. We're making a socioeconomic baseline study to try to understand the areas that are more representative for the industry, to see if together as an industry we can work together to have a bigger impact, as opposed to everybody doing a small project, having a holistic view and trying to push it forward. So that's something that we're going to introduce a seventh one, hopefully next year, which is operational, mainly on how to improve safety and environment as an industry. So those are the seventh focus areas of NAMPOA. We're doing that, as you said, the partnerships. We signed an MOU with Koganam last week. We're aligned in these work streams that we have. We presented NAMPOA to Her Excellency as well, and then right after that, we had the meeting with the ministry and the UPU on the local content policy. We gave our feedback. So all this is the kind of atmosphere we want: dynamic dialogue, generating trust, breaking any barriers, having open communication, putting the cards on the table, not ignoring. Okay, I cannot ignore what is important to you, and you can't either. So it's not who's right, but it's how do we do it. So that type of dialogue is the one that I think we've had, and we're trying to maintain and even improve. So really looking forward for that. We have a lot of challenges, but the challenges will be easier to if we work together. No, so we have to really understand that, and the key message that I want to give here, Selma, is we cannot forget that we're trying to understand the subsurface of Namibia, and that is called the exploration phase, which is data gathering and trying to see how can that information and those barrels that we have, some of the companies have discovered and others could discover, how do we bring that to reality to get to that goal, which is the first oil as an industry? to then really reach to the benefits that could happen. And we cannot deviate from that goal. And we all need to push together to get to that position. And for that, the input of all the stakeholders, of the society, of the academia, of government, of industry, of everybody, we all have to be aligned. And the more aligned we are, it's a competitive advantage. There you go. So challenging, yes. That we have a plan, yes. And that we will work together, we have, and I hope we continue. Thank you for the spaces that you have created so that we can all share and exchange ideas, information, and try to make this industry every day better. And sure, we have all a lot to learn. The IOCs have a lot to learn about Namibia, and then is the Namibians also as well. And is he not think on the things that make us different, but the things that unite us, which are more.